Hey guys! Thanks for joining us. I'm Raquel.
I'm Jake.
And this is Don't You Know? Oh my god, that's gonna be horrible to edit, Jacob.
Welcome to our show.
Welcome to our show. As you can tell, I'm the cool one and Jacob's the annoying one. Sorry guys. Couldn't find a better co-host.
Wow, because you got no friends.
So, what do you think we should start off? Should we start with our special? Because I think people are excited to know about our special.
Let's talk about our new listeners real quick.
Okay, so we have a new is it a country or countries?
It's a country.
Two, or is it one?
It's a country.
Okay, we have a new listener in a country, and Jacob is going to pronounce it because I do not want to offend people with my horrible trying of pronouncing this.
We would like to thank you for listening to us from
Bosnia-Herzegovina.
Bosnia-Herzegovina. Dang it. Bosnia-Herzegovina.
Thank you. And so, right at this moment, it looks like I believe Georgia is in the lead for most downloads.
That's pretty cool. Nice.
You know, Jacob, I look at it, and you know, I'm in California, you're in Georgia.
Yeah.
And so it's understandable that we know, like, we have a lot of listeners in Georgia and California. But I have to say, it looks like every month we have one listener in Michigan. And I'm just curious on who that person is. Because I don't know anyone in Michigan.
It's my good friend. Shout out to my good friend in Michigan. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, thanks.
And we have a listener in New York that listens all the time, it looks like. Yeah. But I think I know who that might be. So.
Well, thanks to you two.
And I think I know who listens to us in North Carolina, who always listens. But Michigan, I don't know if I know anyone in Michigan.
Well, we thank all of you.
Thank you for listening. Thank you guys all for listening.
All right, enough sappy stuff. Let's move on.
Okay, cool. So, shall we go ahead and do our special, or should we go talk about ourselves?
We should try saying Bosnia-Herzegovina again.
Bosnia-Herzegovina.
Carry on.
Oh, no. Okay.
It's just east of Italy.
Cool. Well, hello.
Anyway, carry on.
Well, I'm trying to figure out where we carry on to, Jacob.
We should talk about our special.
Okay, let's do our special then. Sorry guys, there's a lot of construction in the background. So, our special. Should I describe it, or do you want to talk about it?
I think I will describe it.
Okay then, go ahead, Jacob.
We are taking this for each other, supernatural quizzes, to find out which supernatural creature we might be, mythical creature might it be, and then we are going to attempt to guess the supernatural creature that we got for each other, for ourselves, by asking a series of questions until we figure it out. Yeah.
Should we put a limit on how many questions? Should it be like that Guess Who game, where you ask a question and then you have a chance to take a guess of who you are?
Are you talking about the game called 20 Questions? I forgot how many questions they give you.
Well, there's 21 questions. You ask each other 21 questions. There's also the game Guess Who, where you have like that board with all the little faces on it, and you go, do I have like glasses? Fun. And then you could take a guess. If that's a yes, then you can either ask another question or you can take a guess of who you are.
Yeah.
Should we do it that way?
Are you wearing glasses? I don't have a board. You didn't tell me to bring one.
Well, I don't have a board either. I'm just saying, like, we can ask a question. If it's a yes, you can take a guess or ask another question. Or do we not want to do that?
I like the 20 questions. And I think that you can do a little, like, counter, and that'd be pretty good.
So after the question, you can take a guess. Because I'm trying to make it so it's not too long. So we just sit here and just ask each other questions. And just questions. And just questions.
I'm going to get mine quick.
Oh, are
Quickly.
you? Are you sure?
Yeah. I already know what it is. I don't think you're going to get yours either. We'll just figure out when we're struggling. We'll be like, no, you're so far wrong. All right.
Okay.
Do we start? How do we start?
So, okay, well, first, we're going to do questions, and then you can take a guess of what you think you are. And then it'll switch. Yeah?
Okay. So we get a guess every time?
Yeah.
Okay. So, you go first.
Sweet. Okay. Do I change forms?
Do you change forms?
No.
Nope.
Am I a zombie?
No.
Oh, okay, fine.
As much as you like the old zombies, you're not a zombie.
That's not what I wanted, but the one I wanted does change forms, so it can't be that one.
Am I living?
Yes.
Thought I was going to be a skeleton. Am I a minotaur?
No.
I don't know why I would be a minotaur. It just kind of popped out. All right, you go ahead.
Okay. Can I pass off as human?
Yeah, you could. You definitely could.
Am I an elf?
You're an elf. Wow. Nice. All right.
I win this one.
Well
I
done.
won the last one.
You're a pro. Am I beast-like?
Yeah. I guess it depends on what you would consider beast. You are animal-like. I'll go with that. Animal-like.
I feel like if I was a werewolf, you would just like, yes, and then, but I'm animal-like. I'm clearly not a werewolf.
Good, because I would have been upset.
That's what I thought you were gonna be.
That's what I was hoping I was going to be.
No. I was like, oh, okay. Let's see. You said I'm animal-like. Am I a swamp monster?
No. Well,
That would be funny.
no. They aren't really considered swamp monsters.
Okay. So I guess I'll just go again then. They aren't really swamp monsters. Am I from the ocean?
Yeah, I think so. Body of water.
Body of water. Am I a giant squid is not a mythical creature. Am I a kraken?
No.
No, that's clearly from the ocean. That was a bad guess. Can I talk?
Yes.
Am I a mermaid?
Yes.
Merman? I'm a merman. Oh,
Yes.
nice. I did spend a lot of time swimming this weekend.
Oh yeah,
We'll
true.
talk about that.
So mine,
Cool.
my
Do I get a
quiz.
trident?
Ooh, I don't know. My quiz also gave percentages of what like the creatures were. So you were 83% mermaid. The next closest was 67% vampire and 67% Frankenstein's monster.
What was my second one?
It was a tie between vampire and Frankenstein monster at 67%. Which these
Interesting.
don't like equal up to be 100%, so that makes actually really no sense. But
I think it's like you have that much percentage in common with that monster,
oh, okay, well then you have
and
60.
you're just the most common with the old merman.
So I told you to take like a screenshot of the like what the answers like the little summary is. So I'll go ahead and read yours. You are a legendary aquatic creature with the upper body of a human and the tail of a fish. Fish, like you are, sometimes associate with events such as floods, storms, shipwrecks, and drownings. In folk traditions, or sometimes within the same tradition, you can be benevolent or beneficent, bestowing boons, or fall in love with humans. Which, like,
Interesting.
is not as cool as I should have done a different quiz, I guess, because that doesn't
What did
like
you think
say.
I was gonna do? What did you think I was gonna get?
What did I think you were gonna get? I
Yeah,
guess
did
I
you
didn't
have,
really
like,
have
oh,
a
you're-
guess.
You said zombie, I think, in a previous conversation. I don't know if it was on air or not.
I said zombie for me because
Oh,
I just took a guess of something that didn't transform. Because I was thinking vampire, werewolf, all that stuff, and I was like, okay, well now I gotta try to think of something that doesn't transform. And I just was thinking about zombies from Skittles. So
yeah, I gotcha. That's when you brought it up. You got Elf. Bring it on screen so we can see. You beautiful, aloof creature. You're one of the most revered and honored creatures in the fantasy world, but you're also very hard to pin down. You're an interesting mix of empathetic politician and pragmatic dreamer. You believe in the power of justice, but you also believe in the power of protecting yourself. You are always willing to lend a hand, but not to the point where it will negatively affect you.
sounds perfect. Sounds just like me. See, that's what I was hoping yours would
Yeah.
do, but I didn't actually reread it. So like, if I had done a different quiz, I would have been able to like.
Which
say-
one did you do?
It-
I did another one, and you were a trickster god.
Huh?
But
that
that was
sounds
from the Supernatural TV show.
I did mine. Which supernatural creature are you? And it's from
And I burned you pretty hard, too. I called you a hobbit.
Oh, you're so mean. You know what? That's fine because I burned you pretty hard in yours.
Oh, perfect.
I kept
I
saying,
felt so-
I
like,
kept
that was
saying,
uncalled for.
I kept saying, where's the video game options? None of these options have video games.
What is the nerd option? Nice.
No, I even like in the video you'll see I say, I'm like, oh no, this is where Jacob's and my friendship ends because we realize we know nothing about each other.
Oh man, my first one had like so many in-depth questions about like what your like core motivations were and like what keeps you awake at night. And I was like, I don't know. I have no idea what keeps you awake at night. Like there were some deep questions.
Mine didn't have any deep questions. Stuff was like, what's your favorite color? And I was like, I know that one. That's blue.
Yeah. Then I went to BuzzFeed and it was like, what's your favorite color? Perfect.
We'll have links of the ones that we did. Okay, let's go ahead and since I was so awesome and I was able to guess mine very quickly.
Yeah, the funny thing is that It just says elf. It doesn't necessarily mean like a fancy elf from Lord of the Rings. You could just be like one of Santa Claus helpers, and that's much more believable. You're even wearing green.
Jacob!
What?
How dare you? You know what? You are a mermaid, not a merman.
Yeah, bet.
I'm sad that it didn't give, like, a description like mine did.
Yeah, well, it did.
No, that's what I'm like, yours didn't, like, yours was just talking about, like, what, like,
it's like
mermaid
100
or whatever,
words.
but it didn't, like, it didn't go, oh, you're this and blah, 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 blah. It just says, mermaids are this, and this. It's just kind of boring. And I don't have my sound off, and you sent all these things.
I didn't do that. I did that like, I was at 9:25. It's now 9:41.
Well, apparently it wanted to wait. Where's my thing at?
Don't blame me. Don't hate the player, hate the game.
So, let's go ahead and get into our lives.
Bosnia-Herzegovina.
You're obsessed with that. You're gonna, like, be able to pronounce it in your
I'm gonna
sleep.
go visit it now.
Right after Italy, right? Or before Italy. So, let's go ahead and talk about what's going on in our lives. I don't have too much going on. I have Comic-Con coming up soon, so that's really exciting.
Very fun.
I've been doing a lot of overtime.
Racking up the money?
Oh, yeah.
Cool. Good stuff.
I'm gonna take in the money and go spend it at Comic-Con.
Sweet.
What?
That'd be fun.
One of the actors that I wanted to go see is not gonna be there now.
That's not fun. But there will be plenty of other things. Who was it? Or should we not name names?
It was going to be the actor from iZombie. Her name's like Rose something, I think. So that's gonna be $60 back in my pocket, I guess.
Oh, okay. Well,
But I'm kind of sad about it. But
she's probably doing something very important. She's very busy.
probably.
And you're gonna love to enjoy it later.
Yeah. Well, see, iZombie just ended, so I was hoping to get her signature on one of the zombie on the pop I have for iZombie.
Uh-huh.
I was like, oh, that would be, great.
Send her a letter. Invite her to the podcast.
Invite her to the podcast. Let's see, what else has been going on?
Is it Rose McIver?
Yes, that sounds right.
Oh, Rose. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I'm gonna get 2 other signatures while I'm there. Probably buy a whole bunch of things and go to an after party. And I already have kind of somewhat of a costume I'm gonna wear at the after party that I'll wear on our Halloween special.
Cool. Sounds good. I went camping. I swam in some springs. I swam around a rock. Yeah, having a lot of fun. Still working hard. Busy. And that's about it. Cleaned my car today. That was really satisfying. I vacuumed it all out. I put vinyl protectant on the vinyl. I put the leather restorer on the leather. Yeah, did a lot of work. Glass cleaner, sunroof, windshield, windows. I washed it all outside yesterday. Even the tires. I gotta take the tires off and put some I think I'm gonna paint the rims because I got a little bit of curb rash. And that'll cover it up pretty nicely. Yeah.
All I hear is wah wah, wah 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 wah.
Yeah, well,
I have no clue what half those words are that you just said.
For the cool car people in the audience, they know what I'm talking about. And they're also facepalming going curb rash, and I'll say I bought it with curb rash, and I'll leave out the part that I added some myself because, it happens. We're all human. It's a rally car. Curb rash is when you hit your wheel against the curb, and it goes right against your nice fancy rims.
Oh, I'm pretty sure I've done that, but I don't see any on my rims, so I guess not really.
You die a little inside every time you do it. You go, oh, I'm so sorry.
I usually just straight up hit the curb, all the way, all tired.
Wow.
If I'm gonna hit the curb, I hit the curb, man.
Joelle told me once about a friend he used to have that whenever she would park at the place, she'd hit the little beam at the end of the parking spot. Go donk. Well, we're here. Now if I do it, my fender scrapes up because I'm so low.
Yeah, see, mine scrapes the little guard protector I have underneath my car.
Yeah.
Mine hits that all the time.
Need to get the curb feelers.
I saw a pretty good show.
What'd you see?
I hadn't seen the movies, I don't think. At least not any good movies that I remember. I saw Winona Earp.
Winona Earp. Okay.
It is really, I kept seeing it everywhere, so I was kind of like, okay, I have to watch it. And at first, I was kind of like, because it's basically, it takes place in this time period, but it's in such an old kind of city that there's still very, Western kind of feel to it. There's a lot of stuff from the Western time that they just haven't changed, they kept, and so it's got, the town has a really Western feel. Only bar is, a saloon in the area, and I'm not a big Western person.
This show, I've put it on Google Images, and I see a woman in a lot of leather holding a sword and a glowing revolver that's also on fire in a different picture. And there's a lady with a cowboy hat and some crazy red eyes. This show looks super crazy.
Yeah, it's really good. And the only reason why I kept watching it is two reasons. One, because it has supernaturals, and I really like shows with supernatural things in it, which is perfect for our topic today.
Yeah.
And the second thing is because the character, the main actor, is like one of my favorite types of characters, which is the kind of like edgy kind of like hero is kind of forced upon them, and it's not necessarily that they don't want to be a hero, but they don't really feel like they deserve to be a hero kind of thing.
Yeah.
But they kind of do want to be a hero, they just feel like they don't deserve it. Even though it's kind of basically forced upon them, and everyone else around them is going, you're a good person, you deserve to be a hero.
It's not the hero we deserve, but it's the hero we need, or something like that.
Yeah, kind of. And then, like, it's the type of person that when in situations that everyone else would be panicking or, like, stressed or whatever, they crack a joke kind of thing because that's just how they handle it.
They're laughing in the face of danger. It's very Tarantino.
Yeah. So, and I really, really like her and her sister's, like, relationship. Like, I like the chemistry the two actors have. Like, you could really feel like they're sisters. And I really love shows that have where the actors, you really feel like they're siblings.
Like they actually know each other. That's good.
I binged watch all 3 seasons.
Wow. Did they talk about Wyatt Earp?
Yes.
Do you know who Wyatt Earp is? You probably do, because you've been watching the show.
I thought it was a made-up person, but apparently not.
He's a real dude.
Wyatt Earp that they talk about is a sheriff that, like, killed, like, 77 outlaws.
Something like that, yeah. He got a big shootout at the OK Corral.
I don't know
Spoiler
about that. I
alert.
didn't say anything about that. And so the gun she has is supposed to be Wyatt Earp's gun.
Nice. That's pretty cool.
That sends demons back to hell.
I choked on my drink. What? Okay.
That's why it's glowing like that. And that's why you see images of people with red eyes.
Okay, gotcha. All right, you had me.
Now you're like, oh, interesting, huh?
Now I'm like, demons. Sounds kind of cool though. It looks like the style is pretty neat. It's like a Western Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I've never seen Buffy the Vampire
Neither
Slayer,
have I.
actually, honestly. So possibly, it sounds like it could possibly. I think you might like it. Maybe you just have to kind of get past the first few episodes because they're still kind of working their way into. You know how like some people have like don't have any fighting experience, so when they do the fight scene at like the very beginning of the show and stuff like that, it kind of looks really awkward and weird.
Yeah.
It gets better.
Nice.
But you have to get past the first few episodes where they're still adjusting.
Yeah, you can't really judge anybody by their first few episodes, really. Like, let's be real. Look at us.
Haha. True. We just got worse and worse.
Yeah, we plateaued at episode 1.
Aw. We did. We had a lot of viewers on that episode.
Wow. I was making a joke, but here come the facts. All right, whatever.
Oh.
Moving swiftly along. I've been watching more Friends. So I've never really watched Friends, but it's pretty funny. It's kind of funny. It's a little silly. I kind of criticize them a little bit, but who doesn't? I mean, I criticize Frasier a lot, and he's my absolute favorite.
You should still watch Winona Earp. I think you will like it. I'm ready
What's
for the
it
next
on?
season.
How are you watching it?
Netflix.
Netflix. Okay, I have that.
So because you like Western stuff, so I think you would
Yeah,
like
off
it.
and
you
on.
like supernatural stuff, so I think you
off
might
and
like
on.
it. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I think you might like it.
I'm gonna have to watch something with a merman in it.
And it's got an edgy girl in it. There you go, Jacob.
She's pretty edgy. The old black jacket and sports bra combo.
No, the only thing is that, like, I thought this was, because I've heard it so many times, I thought this was, like, an actual, like, really, really long series. Like, I thought it had been on for, like, a few years, and it was, like, at season 6 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There's only 3 seasons, and when I finished the 3rd season, it left on a cliffhanger. I was like, when's the next season coming out? Turns out this season just ended, like, last month, and I'm like, no, I gotta wait, like, a whole year.
It's like the maximum amount of wait time.
So, movie-wise, I don't think I saw any movies. Yeah, I think that's it.
That's
I
all
just
I
been
got.
watching Winona Earp. Cool. Well, then let's go ahead and get into our topic.
Let's
then.
do it. What's our topic today?
Supernatural creatures!
Supernatural. Okay, so obviously these might not exist. Some of these things. Or maybe they do, you know?
That's actually my question, one of my discussions, which is, do you believe there are supernatural creatures, and to what extent?
Only one, the Chupacabra.
Chupacabra?
That is the only supernatural creature that I believe in. My cousins were attacked once. They barely got it out alive. They had to sacrifice the pillows and some sort of mattress. But the Chupacabra, it'll get you. I
can't tell if you're being the truth or not.
It'll get you. Stay alert.
So you don't believe in Bigfoot or ghosts or... I don't know if aliens would count as supernatural because they're not of the world.
I don't really... I've had some quote ghost encounters, but I don't know. I kind of just go, I don't know how I feel about that. And I was raised Baptist, so demons, very much a thing. But I've never really witnessed any. I don't play with Ouija boards, or anything like that.
Nope.
I don't,
See, you have those people that are like, oh, let's test this demon, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, nope.
I do like to go into abandoned buildings, though. I have gone into abandoned buildings a lot. And, you never know what's going on in some of these places that are just, off in the side of the road. How many, bodies got buried here? How many evil specters and, Samara from the Rings are there? And, I don't know, maybe I will run into one at some point, but so far, no. So, I don't know. I think that, the idea of, a forest somewhere out there with, I don't know, Harry Potter had unicorns, maybe centaurs or something. They did have centaurs, too. I like that idea, but I feel like Earth's been pretty well explored. Humans have been everywhere, and I feel like it would be in textbooks.
They're just really fat and they're called rhinos.
You ever seen the image of the rhino running on the treadmill and he's looking at the unicorn poster?
Oh, I don't think I ever saw that, no.
Oh, it's kind of sad. It's you're a rhino. Be a rhino. Be strong. You're cool. You're cool too.
I don't know to what extent. I believe supernatural. I just feel like supernatural should exist. 'Cause I just feel like there's just so much more to Earth that could be. I don't know.
You think?
I don't know. I just feel like we're constantly everything's always evolving, that it would make sense for stuff to also evolve as well, especially us change as well.
I think it could be the ocean or outer space. I think that there could be something out in outer space, but I don't know. I don't think there's anything magical on Earth.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't necessarily mean anything magic happen. I just feel like we could have some type of mutation that would lead to what we would consider certain things to be supernatural. We could have a mutation that required you to only live off of blood or something like that. And we would consider that a vampire or whatever, Maybe not the exact, vampire exists, but certain traits that we would consider supernatural creatures.
Okay, so a giant being Andre the Giant.
Yeah, something would happen and you would grow to be taller than you should be.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the tallest man or woman, whatever, record's constantly being out, being beat, right? So, well, not constantly, but it is always being beat.
Yeah, it happens.
It does get beat.
You get some really freakishly tall people, or you get some unique things. Huh, that's an interesting take.
Yeah, so there's no saying that someone could be so tall that in stories we consider giants to be this certain amount of height, and then someone could eventually be that height. Especially with all the stuff that we eat, so much food's processed. You don't know what certain hormones or whatever could do. My cousin Gabby at 10 years old was taller than me.
Oh yeah.
And she's she's not going to be a giant, obviously, but she's really really tall already. She is 5'9", 5'10", and she's only 12 years old.
Wow.
So
that's pretty intense.
And the rest of us are all short, other than her dad. Well, that's my uncle's average height.
Well, I have no idea.
So I know that's what I see. The same with zombies. I could see there being a disease outbreak or something like that.
I'm average height for a guy my age, and I'm happy with that. Can't ask for anything more.
Okay. So I feel like this is a good moment. I was listening to a podcast called Anime Out of Context. And they always include a disclaimer. And I feel like we probably should include disclaimers in ours as well. So their disclaimer is that...
Okay.
That these are mostly opinions that we talk about, and that it is based off of very few fact checks, which I feel like is us too. We don't do a lot of fact checking.
Oh.
Fact checks. We don't fact check ourselves. So, don't take our word for law, basically.
I literally just pulled out my keyboard from the drawer.
Jacob's ready to fact check every single thing I say.
Yeah, cracking my fingers.
So, but I think it's really important that we mention this because we are going to talk about supernatural. So, obviously, this is going to be a lot of just opinions.
Yeah, just hearsay, based on myths and legends.
And a lot of what we're going to say... Yeah, and a lot of what we're going to say will probably be more along the lines of debates of what we believe, what we would visualize those supernaturals to be. Like, for example, you have vampires with sunlight. You have a lot of, like, media reference that vampires burn in sunlight. Then you have Twilight, who shows vampires shining in the sunlight.
I've never seen it. No, I saw like 10 minutes of it while I was at Planet Fitness.
Uh-huh.
And I sat down in the massage chair, and it was on a commercial. And I sat down, and then it like crushed her on my legs, and like it started doing the massage. And then Twilight came on, and I was like, oh no. Here I'm getting a massage to this movie. And I'm not going to get up because I paid my $2. They're like little tokens. You get 10 minutes. I'm not getting up. The remote was way over there. I was like, whatever. I'll just check it out. I don't even remember it. I think Edward pushed Jacob a little and they got mad and stormed off. That was about all I remember. I don't even know which one it was. That's my experience with Twilight. Sorry.
That sounds more like New Moon or maybe Eclipse or something like that. Because Jake doesn't.
I'm shrugging pretty hard.
If he was really big and buff, it was not the first one.
I don't remember.
If he was shirtless, it wasn't the first one.
He might have been shirtless. I don't remember.
You don't remember a shirtless Taylor Lautner? What's
so
wrong with you, Jacob?
That wasn't the important part. I was trying to figure out why they were fighting.
It was important for everyone else.
I think she was pregnant. Spoiler alert. I think she was pregnant and she didn't know which one it was.
No, this never happened.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know then.
there's a point where she is pregnant, but she knows for sure which one it is.
Oh, okay.
Just one of them is upset that she's pregnant with a vampire kid.
I gotcha. Anyway, enough of that. I think they should burn. That's how it is in Oblivion. That's how it is in like all the regular stuff.
Yeah, and so obviously, what we decide, what we discuss with that, it's obviously going to be opinions because one, vampires don't exist that we know of. So, fact check or whatever. I would say burn too. Because, in Dracula, which is the original vampire, right?
Nosferatu. Thank you very much.
Okay.
No, Nosferatu was the original film. I think that Dracula was the original. Who was the original... I almost said zombie.
Zombie. Who is the original zombie on top of that too, Jacob?
Bram Stoker, Count Dracula, it looks like.
So Count Dracula. And he burnt in the sun, right? So I would say burning would also have a really big point in Ned's favor as well, if that's the case. Oh, what?
Listen to this from the wiki. In modern times, the vampire is generally held to be a fictitious entity. However, it says, although belief in similar vampiric creatures such as the chupacabra still persist in some cultures.
Man, guys, I wish you could see his face as he says this. So this was an experience your cousins had, not you, right? He's so absorbed into reading this. You guys got it on film?
It's kind of an inside joke.
Oh, okay. Anyways then, moving right along.
It looks like Nosferatu was the first film, but the legends go way back. It was hearsay for a long, long time.
Interesting.
1748, there was a poem called The Vampire by Heinrich August Ossenfelder, and that looks to be the first one according to Wikipedia. But Nosferatu was the first film. I went for Halloween as Nosferatu one Halloween.
I wonder where... Jacob. I wonder where the idea of vampirism came from.
Well, I already closed that tab. We're gonna have to move on to a different Don't You Know.
Okay, fine. Real quick about vampires, though. Don't you know that there are people who consider themselves vampires, right?
Yeah, and that's...
I don't know if they drink blood, though.
Yeah,
but they do consider some...
They probably do. They probably get it from the butcher shop and stuff. I guarantee you there's people out there like that. And if you're listening, we thank you for listening.
Yeah. I saw a video on BuzzFeed where the girl said she went on a date with a vampire. And it was a guy who considers himself to be a vampire. He even got custom-made teeth done. And she later on, a few months later or whatever, she does a video where she becomes a vampire as well.
Did he bite her?
I didn't actually watch the video.
Did she die?
I think she just went and got her teeth sized for her vampire teeth.
Oh.
I didn't watch the whole video. I think I was on the bus or something like that and I had to get off.
Oh, okay.
I just never went back to the... Because that happens. You're on Facebook, you're watching a video, and then you have to close out the app or something like that to do something. You go back and it's gone. You can't find it.
Yeah, or when you're driving around and you see an orange Lamborghini today in a parking lot. That has nothing to do with anything. It just happened to me today.
Okay, weirdo. Okay, let's go from vampires burning in the sunlight to, don't you know you can always kill a vampire with a steak?
Not a slab of meat. Hey, what's your favorite food? Would you say a steak is your favorite food?
It's pretty close to, yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. I picked correctly earlier.
Nice, Jacob. Not a piece of meat, no, just regular steak. I've seen so many videos and, I'm not videos, but like not social media, but media outlets that show vampires being killed with steak. So I feel like that's a don't you know, vampires can be killed with a steak.
Yeah. Now, what if a vampire, like, falls into a pit of bamboo? Does that count? Or if you, like, break your chair,
I've only ever...
your wooden chair, and you stab him with it, does that count, or does it have to be, like, sharpened and dipped in holy water or something?
I don't think it has to be dipped in holy water. I think it just has to be enough points to... It would stab a human being, you could stab a vampire through the heart.
Through the heart. That's pretty intense.
I think it has to be through the heart.
I'm trying to think of, like, pushing them into a dumpster full of pallets, and they just happen to get stabbed through the heart. I don't really... But, like, can they... What happens if you just, like, put them into, like, a crusher and you just, like, crush them? Like one of those big metal things that crushes cars and couches and stuff. You throw one in there, they're mangled to bits, and do they come back?
I feel like eventually their body heals in a way that we aren't able to. The only problem
like paste.
Yeah, I don't know. Just very, very slowly, and they're very, very hungry afterwards, after using all energy reservations to re-heal themselves.
So they're tired and weak, and they're like crawling around your auto wrecker compound. Your dogs start barking at him, and you grab him and throw him back in. He's definitely going to kill you when he gets his power back. Like, you are super dead if you do that to a vampire.
That's a good topic, though. Powers. So, would you consider humans... Because there are some people who claim to have certain powers. You know, moving things with their mind,
yeah,
stuff like that.
I have the ability to make any human female swoon with just a certain glance.
Yeah, that's not true. So, let's go...
Well...
Sorry, Jacob.
Well, most of them.
The ones that don't see you as a little brother.
Ouch. Tune in today to see a man roasted alive on... No, I'm just teasing.
Let's see. Okay, so some people claim they have, like, superpowers. Would that be supernatural? That would be considered supernatural, right? But not a supernatural creature.
I always wonder if those people are self-aware. Like, if they're just doing it just to get attention, or if they really think that they are vampires. I don't know. I don't know how to take them.
I've seen a video where a guy... Okay, so... I guess there's a difference between, like, what we would consider supernatural and what we can all do. We just don't have the ability to do it. Like, we just don't have, like, the, not ability. We just don't have the experience to do it. Like, I saw this video where a guy was able to regulate his body temperature. Like, he actually had control over regulating his body temperature. So he was able to go in, like, freezing cold water and stay at the body temperature our body is at, which I can't, at the moment, think... I can't remember what the...
98.5.
That's what I was thinking. But I didn't want to say anything. Fact check. He was able to do that, and because what he wanted to do was he wanted to run a marathon in the North Pole.
It's 98.6. Come on.
98.6.
Round it for me. I was 0.1 off.
Good thing we fact checked. Brought to you by Wikipedia.
No, that was Google, actually. Medlineplus.gov. It's a .gov, you know it's right.
So he wanted to run a marathon in the North Pole or something like along that lines, and he was doing it with, like, not a lot of clothes on. Not naked, just not, like, bundled up either.
It was like
that would be kind of hard to run.
Trunks or something.
Yeah, and so before they allowed him to do...
So what, you think he's like a firebender or something?
So the way he described it was he said that he visualizes like a switch in his mind, and he's able to flick the switch on that helps him regulate his body temperature or something like that. But the thing is before the people who were filming him would allow him to do this, to try to attempt to do this, he had to do extensive tests to prove that he would actually be able to regulate his body temperature and not freeze to death while trying to do this marathon. And then he wouldn't just literally
die on camera. For the live audience.
And so he was able to pass these tests. So, I mean, there's some proof that he was able to regulate his body temperature.
Yeah.
He didn't actually complete the marathon because I think he started to get frostbite on his feet, bottom of his feet, and so he had to stop.
At that point, it's a different limitation.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Still
if you're able to control if you're able to control your body temperature with that, let's say that he's able to do that. would that be considered a supernatural power? Or would that be a power that just all of us have the capability of doing, we just don't have the experience to do it?
I think it's an extraordinary ability, but not a supernatural power.
Kind of like how, like, you know, there's singing. Not everyone can sing, but most people can learn how to sing.
I don't know.
So it's just another trait that, like, people could do it, just not many people, like, learned how to do it.
I don't know. I'm thinking more, like, beyond, like, human form. Like, I'm thinking, like...
We're talking about just completely supernatural creatures, not human. Like,
yeah, I'm
been
thinking,
human
like,
at one point, but not anymore.
I'm thinking, like, should zombies be able to run?
Okay, well, I think zombies would be a lot more terrifying if they could run.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Me and, Sean... You remember Sean from college, right?
Sean P.
Yeah, we actually had this discussion about that. Because we were talking about... I think we were talking about Walking Dead. Or maybe something else. Because, you know, we lived in... I lived near Noonan, so of course, you know, Walking Dead films there. And I think we started to talk about how if zombies were real, they would have... they wouldn't have their consciousness. So they would be basically going on only basic survival.
Yeah.
And according to neurobiologist or whatever, this is what he was saying, so I'm not, you would have to fact check it, but running is a higher level thinking activity. And zombies wouldn't be able to access higher level thinking.
Okay, because that
so
part
would
will
not
have
be
died
able to
off.
run.
They won't be able to make those calculations for the balance or whatever.
So they wouldn't be able to, like, plan a trap on you, because that's higher level thinking. They would basically
they're
just
effectively
be basic any.
super drunk.
Yeah, I guess is a really good description. So they wouldn't have the higher level thinking, so they wouldn't be able to run, they wouldn't be able to plan traps. They basically walk and just kind of hope to come across some food.
I'm thinking of, like, The Walking Dead giving all their extras just, like, so much alcohol and being like, all right, you have to be at 0.2 before we shoot, so drink up. And then everyone's just, like, shambling, like, literally, and, like, puking and stuff. I think that would make for some great filming. Although, keeping them in makeup and keeping them just rounded up, and you got, like, 30 people who think they're zombies, and now they're drunk, and now they're, like, hurting your actors. It's just probably a recipe for disaster. I think this is a bad idea.
Start off a good idea, then it turns bad. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds like how ideas go.
I want an indie film to do it.
What else? We've talked about zombies.
I like the idea that, so if they're dead and they come back, I like that it is dead, so they can't run. But, like, in, what was the one, DayZ, where they got the running ones, that one, it was a virus. And so they were still, like, alive, like, moments before, and then the virus just, like, takes over, I guess. And that's definitely spookier.
I guess what they were talking about with Jacob, what Sean was talking about with that, was he was saying that if it were to happen, he would think it would be through a virus.
Yeah.
He just wouldn't all of a sudden, like, die and come back to life. It would be a virus of some sort. So, like, if you did die, it would be from
Or a
the virus that
parasite,
would cause
like
you to come
Resident
back. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be like you've been long dead. Like, your great-great-grandfather wouldn't get back up from the dead and kill you.
Right. Mostly rotten. Yeah. Not like Thriller.
Yeah. So what he was saying was that if the disease caused you to become zombies, it's not so much the dead coming back to life so you can only do lower thinking. It's somewhere along the lines of if you're willing to, like, actively go out and, like, eat people and not have any kind of conscience, then you wouldn't be able to have higher level thinking. Like, the only way you would be able to do it without any conscience would be you would have to have no higher level thinking.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, if you did crave flesh and blood and all that stuff, but you had the consciousness to not stop, then that leads to all the movies that they have where they have, like, zombies living in society as well. Which is interesting.
You're like, oh, I would love some human flesh, but I can't. It's akin to, like, people who would just love to ram people off the road, but they know they can't. They just think about it. It's fine.
It's kind of like, you know, iZombie, which I was talking about earlier with the news. They, you know, zombies, they can turn other people into zombie. They crave brains, but they still have their higher level thinking, so they're able to, like, not just gnaw on the nearest brain that they see, which so happens to be in that person's alive skull.
Are aliens supernatural? Should we talk about them? I mentioned them earlier.
I don't think aliens count as supernatural,
Nah,
honestly.
not really. They're kind of different.
Yeah, because for me, supernatural is creatures of Earth that aren't natural. They're, like, beyond natural, where I feel like if aliens exist, They are natural. They exist. They just so happen to live on other planets. It doesn't make them not natural.
Yeah, they're not magic. I gotcha. What's another supernatural one?
We have to talk about werewolves because they're my favorite.
All right, let's talk about werewolves. Do you like it when they have control over being a werewolf, or do you like it better when they're just out of control and it's a different beast and they just go and kill and hunt and they wake up over dead bodies and they're like racked with shame and guilt, like Van Helsing style?
I like it better when they are able to control it. However, I feel like if they're able to control it, it's more of a shapeshifter versus a werewolf. And that's a big difference that a lot of places will do. They'll have maybe something that's considered a werewolf, and then like what Twilight does it. They consider them a werewolf, and then you come to find out a little bit later they're shapeshifters because werewolves actually are forced to turn during the moon.
Okay.
And so if they're willingly, like freely able to change, I feel like that should be considered shapeshifter. And I like those. But when it's like, if they turn into a wolf, it's considered a werewolf, no matter what. And it's like, doesn't were mean moon or something like that? Fact check me.
All right. What does were in werewolf mean? First believed to have been... What's a prefix were in werewolf mean? From the online etymology dictionary. Werewolf, noun, late Old English werewolf, person with the power to turn into a wolf. From were, man, male person. Wolf, sea wolf.
Doesn't mean moon.
It's just like merman, but it's wolf. It's man wolf.
Okay then, so I feel like they should be able to control it then. I guess it doesn't matter whether or not they're forced to or not. They should be able to control it.
What?
That's my, like, I would prefer that. Like, if I was
That's
to be
not
a
how
werewolf, I
legends
would prefer
go.
to be.
They say in the full moon, the werewolves come out. And you just go off.
Nothing in their name says that they have to change during the
It doesn't have the instructions with it. If they say magic toilet, it's not a magic toilet. It's just a really good toilet. Moon sand is not literally moon sand.
But I like it better when they don't have to. They can change whenever they feel like.
Do you also like it when vampires glitter? Because you're taking the easy way out.
Oh, no. I like it when they burn and die.
I guess it all depends on what kind of narrative you're trying to tell. If you want to make like a wacky superhero adventure where the guy's part werewolf and he could just like go, yeah, I'm hulking out, and then bam, he's werewolf mode, that's pretty cool. But if you want to tell like a more dramatic story where there's like maybe a supernatural romance novel or something, and he has to like disappear on the moon and she thinks he's cheating and then she finds that he's a werewolf. Somebody's written that story. That story's probably been written a million times.
Maybe I'm just... My Native American side of me is coming out and we have a connection to animals that I feel like we should be able to change into our animal spirit.
I'm sorry. I didn't know Native Americans can literally turn into animals on command.
Yes, we can! Don't you know?
That's impressive.
No, I was kidding. Fact check me.
That would be really cool.
It would be cool.
All right, I'm fact checking.
Fact check.
Yeah, let's see here.
Is there any Native American stories that say that they're allowed to turn into animals of their animal spirit? I don't know if my animal spirit would be a wolf. I wish it would be though.
Google just says, "Come on, what kind of a question is that?" Some Native Americans and First Nation legends talk about skinwalkers, people with a supernatural ability to turn into any animal they desire. To do so, however, they must first be wearing a pelt of the specific animal. Oh, that is so cool. And so you have to hunt it and wear the skin, and then you can turn into it. That is so cool.
I have heard of that, actually, skinwalkers, yeah.
Have you tried it?
I don't have a pelt of an animal that I hunted.
Amazon.
So no.
eBay. It doesn't say they have to hunt it. They just must be wearing it, according to Wikipedia. I'm sure we would have to do more research. I thought it has to be one they have to hunt. I think it would be very hard to find the pelt of an actual animal, because, PETA and all that stuff. No, it's not.
PETA doesn't say, hey, don't sell live animal pelts.
Does not have any control over free trade. Amazon.
Okay, well then, how about you buy me an actual wolf pelt, which I think is an endangered species. Is it an endangered species? It might be an endangered species.
I think certain kinds are.
If that's the case, then you can't take the pelt of it and sell it.
Professionally tanned coyote hide. That's not a wolf. I think wolves are kind of endangered.
Yeah, I think so.
You probably find some. They're probably out there.
I heard that there is such a thing called coy wolves, which are like a combination of a coyote and wolf, and they're like a lot more aggressive than coyotes.
Oh yeah.
I started to watch a documentary about it, and then I was like, this is boring. This is not what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like some like interesting story about a coyote and a wolf and like the comparison between the two or whatever, and it just like turned out to be like a really boring documentary. I thought it would be
unamused.
I thought it would be a documentary of sorts. I just didn't realize it would be that boring of a documentary. And we stopped watching that and put on a horror movie.
Nice. Fun fact, therianthropy is the mythological ability of humans being able to metamorphose into other animals by means of shapeshifting. It's called therianthropy.
Ooh. I want to be a skinwalker. I changed my mind. I want to be a skinwalker.
Not a werewolf?
I think I could do it. I'm Native American. I can do it.
That'd be cool. You have to webcam it.
So, that'd be awesome.
That would be one pretty bomb Halloween costume.
I don't live in a type of city that I could really turn into a wolf and just, it'll be okay. If I was in Georgia, I could just turn into a wolf and go into my backyard where the forest is.
Yeah, LAPD would be all over you.
I thought it'd be animal control, not LAPD.
Yeah, they'd probably both be right there. There's a wolf in downtown LA. How did this happen?
I don't know about that.
Somebody's playing Jumanji. Not again.
I don't know about that because there's coyotes that go through our neighborhood and no one has done anything about it. We don't think they're going to do anything about it until a coyote attacks like a human being. Then they'll do something probably about it. But we've complained like multiple times that there's coyotes and they still people still like report that they've seen it on their cameras and stuff like that the coyotes are going through or they've seen them.
I had a friend in high school who had a chihuahua. Their family had a chihuahua and coyotes got their chihuahua when they let it outside to use the restroom.
Mm-hmm.
Rip Hershey.
They're predators.
Yeah, for sure. They're wild animals.
One of my old coworkers when I worked in Georgia, he had like a coyote problem, and he said it was a big coyote, and
you get a coyote pelt.
I don't want a coyote pelt.
Oh come on, it's basically the same thing. They're smarter.
No, they're not. Well, they might be smarter, possibly, but they're like the evil version of wolves.
That's a bit biased. It's a little racist.
Good. Anyways, he was saying that it would just stare. He had 2 little small dogs, and it would just watch them. And he said one of the times he let the dogs out, and they went up towards the fence, and they sniffed the fence, and then they started to cower. So he was like, the coyote must have came over and peed and marked the territory to claim that the 2 dogs were his. And so ever since then, he's been he had called. I don't remember who he called, but I think it was the police. And he said, would he be allowed to shoot the coyote? And he was like, as long as you're not shooting in the direction of, residents.
Yeah, watch your backdrop.
So, ever since then, he kept, his guns, because it's Georgia, so everyone has guns there.
Yeah.
You don't be breaking into people's house in Georgia.
Nope.
He kept a gun by the door, so when he let the dogs out, if he ever saw that coyote. I don't remember what gun he said it was, so...
Was it a shotgun?
I don't think it was a shotgun.
Was it
But he actually walked into work one day with a gun and was showing everyone his gun.
Nice.
And everyone was like, ooh, what's up, blah, blah, blah. And they were talking about bullets and all this other stuff. It was nothing kind of he brought a gun up and everyone's afraid that he has a gun. Yeah, he said that he didn't see it anymore after that and he thinks someone else had got it and shot it.
Nice. I did a Google and it says wolves and coyotes are more intelligent than foxes. Foxes are only more intelligent reputation-wise. While American wolves seem to be tied with coyotes, Eurasian wolves seem to take it to another level. Eurasian wolves are known to trick dogs by sending out a female wolf. Then the wolves can either kill the dog with stealth or leave it distracted and get to the livestock. Guard dogs have been tricked by the wolf's cunning. Sean Ellis. They're also known to open doors to get livestock after a short time of observing a human open it.
Ooh, see, I like wolves. Wolves are awesome. I want to get a wolf tattoo.
Nice. I thought you had one.
No, I don't have one. All I have is a cross tattoo.
Oh.
I want to get a wolf tattoo. I want to get one on the inside of my forearm.
Oh, gotcha.
But I also want to get a Triforce tattoo with my brothers, and I don't know. I don't want to have a tattoo on the inside of both my forearms. I think that feels like that's too much.
You put it on your forehead.
But then it'll be asymmetrical, so I'll need it. I can be asymmetrical.
I like asymmetricality.
I don't.
Asymmetry.
Everything needs to be symmetrical.
Asymmetricality. It's a symmetry.
I have my TV and I bought 2 IKEA shelves. So I can have one on both sides of my TV.
Nice.
I can't have No, can't do it. Nope. So, okay, let's see. Anything else? We've talked about skin crawlers, talked about werewolves, we talked a little bit about shapeshifters.
What's another good supernatural creature?
Let me look at your results, because it gave a whole bunch.
Yeah, there you go.
We've talked a little bit about ghosts. Do we want to talk about Frankenstein's monster? Don't you know, Frankenstein is the creator of the monster, but is not the actual monster.
I saw it's Frankenstein's the doctor. I saw this one guy who was like electrocuting a dead frog and making its thing twitch, but I don't know, it wasn't really sentient or anything like that. But they were talking about being able to like put in receptors and being able to like make something walk with enough precision or whatever, with enough time and research. It's a possibility.
Yeah, I can see that, because your nerves are what causes the muscles to like move. Like the nerves send like electrical signals that go to your muscles that will cause it to move.
That's why when you get tased, just everything goes blah, 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 because it doesn't know what's going on. It's just everything tightens.
So I think that is very possible. You could put it would be no different than when you put those little stickers on your muscles and then you turn on the little machine and it like causes you to like clench your fist or whatever when you have it on your arms or whatever.
Yeah, no thanks.
And you're like, ah! It would be the same way. Like you would put the two barbs in and it would send electrical signals down to your muscles, forcing them to constrict, yeah, that's the word.
Nah, I don't think it is, though. I think I messed up too. Contract,
yeah. That sounds right, too.
I got snake on the brain. Snakes constrict.
Oh, yeah, that's constrict. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so I have one on your list. It said ghost, and it said poltergeist.
Poltergeist.
I can never poltergeist. I was like, that's not right. How do you pronounce it? I always thought poltergeist was a ghost. What's the difference?
I think that, I don't know. Let me Google it. What is a poltergeist versus ghost? Poltergeist is a type of ghost, German for noisy ghost or noisy spirit. It is responsible for physical disturbances such as loud noises and objects being moved or destroyed, purportedly capable of pinching, biting, hitting, and tripping people. Most accounts of poltergeists describe the movement or levitation of objects, such as furniture and cutlery, or noises such as knocking on doors. They have traditionally been described as troublesome spirits who haunt a particular person instead of a specific location. Interesting. So it's just something that just wants to be annoying.
So it's still a ghost. There really is no difference. Okay then. Well, that's weird.
I think your motivations are different.
Don't you know that ghosts haunt places, demons haunt people?
Interesting. Okay.
Because ghosts and demons kind of have the general, not really symptoms is the word, but kind of general. When you watch a movie, sometimes a ghost and a demon have very similar interactions and stuff like that. But the big difference is that when the main person who's being haunted leaves, the ghost does not follow them unless it's a demon.
Yeah, demons are pretty bad news.
And if the haunting continues after they've left the place, then they're being haunted by a demon and they get possessed, usually at the end. So that's how you know it's also a demon. But the biggest one is you don't usually see the ghosts follow them. And I think I read that somewhere too, but I mean, you have to believe in ghosts and demons and stuff like that.
Right.
So, and I won't say that I do believe in ghosts. I won't say that I don't challenge of a ghost to bother me. So
chicken.
But
next
will
week,
not be waiting.
I think we should talk about our next challenge while we do a Ouija board together on stream.
No, we're not.
Nope. I'm just teasing.
My cousin was telling me of this time where her and my other cousin Jessica had brought in a Ouija board to my grandparents' house, and my grandma was like, "Get that demon board out of it."
Yeah, you better take that away.
She's not happy.
Or you put it in the fireplace. No, don't even burn it. Don't even burn it on your own house. Just get rid of it. Don't ever do it. Don't do it, kids.
And don't you know that you have to close the portal after you're done with the Ouija board?
Yeah, but that takes sacrifice.
I don't know. I've never played with the Ouija board.
Me either.
I just remember the commercial or something like that. Or any time you see a video with the Ouija board, and they're always warning you, they're like, you have to make sure that you close the portal or close the door or whatever before leaving the board, before taking your hands off the board or whatever. That's always in the instructions.
It's so no matter how scared you are, you can't just run away. That's so spooky.
So I think we should talk about 2 more supernatural creatures and then go ahead and close out.
Slenderman.
Ooh, okay, well, fine. I had 2 in mind, so we could do 3 then. Let's talk about Slenderman. What do we want to talk about with Slenderman? I wish they were supposed to come out with a movie and they never did.
I'm just thinking about the original game. I was talking about it recently. It was really spooky. And, like, I like the idea that, like, I was talking to somebody, it was Patrick, just this morning, about how, was it? I think it was. Maybe I was talking to somebody else. It's gonna be embarrassing if it was Deanna. Anyway, when it's something that's like, that happens in real life no matter what, and then you always associate that with something scary, you know what I mean? And so like, if you can be scared of the phone ringing, and then every time the phone rings, you're gonna be a little scared, you know what I mean? Or like, like for me, it's like when Slenderman, whenever something goes staticky, that always freaks me out. And like right now I've got this TV, and when you turn it on, if it's on for like 5 minutes or 10 minutes or some random interval, it just starts doing really loud static, and you have to mute the TV, and the sound will still come out the side speakers.
Oh, God.
Anyway, it gives me the spooks. It gives me the spookums every single time it happens if I forget to mute it. And I think Slenderman is really good. They use that very well, forcing you to use the camera and it getting all glitchy. That's really spooky. I try and do that with my video outros.
Yeah. I have 2 things. First one, I wish Slenderman was a 2-player game that we could play together to do on Rocky Doesn't Game. That would be awesome. That sucks. Second thing is, I think I've read, and you would have to fact check me on this, but the original story of Slenderman was not that he would take kids, but that he would find lost kids and lead them back to a certain area by the river or something like that.
I have no idea.
That's why I said you had to fact check me.
Oh, but I'm so comfortable leaned over to the side. Right. And that's going to be a lot of reading.
I think I did read somewhere that was the original story of Slenderman, was that he was not like evil, he was actually a good figure.
This is a lot of reading. It was initially created in the Something Awful forums as a creepypasta. He's depicted in 2009, featuring him stalking, blah, blah, blah. I'm not reading all this. You have to do your own research.
Okay. Yeah. Do your own research. I'm not sure about it. Like
Today
I said, I'm not positive.
That H.P. Lovecraft kind of looks like Mark Zuckerberg. There, I said it. He definitely looks like him.
Okay.
I'm sending him to you.
Okay, so the two creatures two supernatural creatures I was talking about was a witch, obviously we haven't talked about, and then we haven't talked about elves, which is what I was for the thing. So I feel like we should talk about both those creatures.
Let's do it. All right, a witch.
Any don't you knows or discussions for a witch?
Do you think that back in the day, a witch was just a medicine maker?
Huh.
And maybe just an ugly old woman who knew a lot of home remedies, and they were just like, she's a witch.
You know, you have that like a lot in shows and stuff like that where people are accused of being witches and stuff, and they're like not witches, but then you have like somewhere along the lines a little bit later, then it turns out this other person was a witch the whole time.
Plot twist.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like witches came about as a means to describe science that they didn't understand.
But some of them are like doing like the occult stuff. Like there's like a potion brewing witch, like Hansel and Gretel getting eaten by a witch. But then there's also like the demonic witches that are like using pentagrams and stuff.
If we're saying we believe in demons, then I feel like the origins of witches came both from people who were possessed and from science stuff that they couldn't explain.
Yeah, so it could be like 2 different types.
Yeah.
It was probably all the scientists going, no, look, it's just gunpowder. I'll show you how to make it. And they're like, witch, burn the witch. He's like, no. But then there are people who do a cult, and those people should maybe be burned. I didn't say that. These are not the views and opinions of, don't you know? But you can't send them to space. That's how doom happens.
Except for if you burn them at a state that, like, if they're a demonic demon, then it probably won't affect them.
Well, yeah. You might as well just, like, execute them normally and humanely.
Cut off the heads!
Yeah.
Oh, man, then that would be super creepy if the head starts talking.
Oh, yeah. Like in some movies or whatever. Nope.
Yeah, I
don't want to get into the topic of how to properly execute witches. It's too grisly.
Salem witch trial?
No, it's so bad. That was a terrible time in history.
You know what that makes me think of? Disenchantment. It's a cartoon on Netflix.
Yeah.
And one of the episodes, like, cause this is like back in like almost kind of like Renaissance kind of feel to it. And they had this one guy who comes from a different country, and his country is like super, super more advanced. They're like industrial age time period.
Like Kazakhstan.
Sure.
That's the country from Borat. Yeah, and it's a real country.
And he goes over there and he like has this like airship, but it kind of looks like a dragon. And so they shoot it down, thinking it's a dragon. And they're like, "Where is your dragon?" He's like, "I don't have a dragon, Dragonstone." He says, "What do you mean? We saw it." And he's like, "That was my airship." And they're like, "Ships float in water, not in the air." And then they find his gun and they're like, "Oh, it's a dragon whistle." And they like throw this powder on him and they're like, "He's the dragon." And they throw a powder on him because now he cannot transform back into the dragon.
Done.
And they're like, he's like, "No, it's science." "What is this science? What type of magic is this?"
No, it's just science.
But if it was a combination of kind of like that, where people believe in magic versus science, and so anything that could be explained with science, but yet the simpler, easier way to understand it, just say it's magic.
Yeah.
So that was partially where witch probably could have originated from, but also the demonic thing, which also would explain why there's lots of different versions of witches. Like what type of powers they can do, whether or not they're evil or good.
How many warts they have.
I was watching, and I talked about it on one of the episodes. I watched like The Worst Witch. It's a British show. I think it's British. And it's like really bad acting because it's like all their first show. But they talk about warts, witches, because they're all witches, and they talk about warts. And they're like, "Oh, warts aren't very common, but the rumor is that if you were to get a wart, that it would show that you have great power."
Oh.
Okay, I think that's good for witches, right?
Yeah.
Let's do elves.
Elves. Alright. You see, I didn't really think that an elf was a supernatural creature. I guess it is.
Yeah, I think so.
It feels like, I don't know. I don't really know how I feel about elves. I never play as elves when I'm playing like Skyrim or something. I'm not playing as an elf. I don't want to be no sissy. I just want to be a regular human. Although, I would probably be an elf, to be honest.
I feel like one of the big discussions we should talk about is there's lots of versions of elves, as in you have Santa's like helper elves, which are short, and then you have like other types of elves, like from Lord of the Rings or whatever, and they're normal size. So should elves be short or normal size?
I think that Santa Claus is the only elves that have been like short like that, in my opinion. I'm always thinking
because in Disenchantment there's an elf in it and he is short. There are multiple elves actually. There's a town of elves and they're all very short.
I'm Googling this. I don't even know what this is.
It's like from the same creators of Family Guy, I think.
That's not like real world canon.
Let me type
it's
elves
like a
and let me look at images.
Like a Futurama knockoff. Sorry if you're listening. I'm sure it's a great show.
I'm going to Google this. I think I've seen multiple elves.
I see him. He's like green
short.
and he's got a purple hat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard that like goblins are like elves too, technically. And so are orcs.
There's actually funny you say that because in Disenchantment, they have an episode where these people are... Actually, I don't think they're goblins. They're trolls. But they, like, pretend that they're elves. And then, like, at the very end, they, like, knock off their ears, which aren't pointy. And they're like, "We're trolls!"
Nice. I don't know. I think Tolkien and Oblivion, Skyrim, Elder Scrolls, that's, like, the way to go for me. And they're, like, tall and they're pointy ears. Except the wood elves are shorter.
So, I think elves should be normal height, honestly. Trolls, yes, short. Elves, pointy
trolls
ears,
are short?
normal
Trolls
size.
Are tall.
Trolls
are big. Imps are short.
Okay, we'll do imps then. Because I was thinking, like, like the little, like, troll dwellers that, like,
troll
under bridges and stuff and things.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, actually, you know what? I'm looking through elves to see, like, how many... Like, a lot of the short elves are all Santa helpers. But there are actually some come up that from that show, Dragon Prince. Oh, that has the voice of Sokka in it. It's so good. And they actually have, like, these, like, dark moon elves or something like that. They get their powers from the moon.
Yeah.
And they're normal height as well. They have the pointy ears. So I think the most important part is, don't you know elves have pointy ears? They have to have pointy ears.
Yeah, that's kind of a canon thing.
Yeah, I feel like there's just no excuses. They have to have pointy ears.
And they have to be prim and proper and a bunch of pansies.
I feel like they don't have to be that, but they do have to have some type of connection to nature. Whether it be like they're water elves, so they like have a connection to the ocean or something like that. They have to be some type of nature. They have to have some type of connection.
Nice.
And they have to be vegetarian.
Like a nymph or a dryad.
I couldn't be an elf if I had to be a vegetarian, Jacob.
I definitely meant druid, but I think a dryad also works. Yeah, it's a tree nymph.
What's the difference between those two?
Druid is a priest magician or soothsayer in the ancient Celtic religion. Anyway, it's a D&D class. That's the real canon on all of this stuff. Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay, so we've talked about. I think we hit all the good supernatural ones. I can't think of anything else.
We're probably missing something really obvious, like swamp monster or magma,
Loch Ness
monster, or chupacabra, Cthulhu.
Yeah, but those tend to be more referred to as like only one creature, like one of their kind of thing.
Yeah, you're talking about like species in general.
Where vampires and witches and stuff like that, there's usually like that's a whole species, that's a whole race. I think we got all the big ones, other than Frankenstein monster, which is actually not a race or species. This is one single thing.
Don't you know vampires and werewolves are always gotta fight? They gotta fight.
That's true.
They're supposed to.
Unless they fall in love. In Underworld, they fall in love.
Do they? Oh, I don't remember. I just remember them fighting a lot.
I think at the very like the most recent one, they actually have a kid that's werewolf. It was like a few years ago, probably maybe 4 years ago, maybe 3.
The most recent one was Blood Wars in 2016.
So 3 years.
Yeah, I think I've only seen the 2003 and 2006 ones.
The 2016 was alright.
Nice.
They have a kid.
Oh, spoiler alert.
Yeah. I didn't tell you who has a kid.
Oh, just they. Who's they?
Just
they say a lot, don't they?
There's tons of characters in that show. Appear multiple times. Any other big ones? I feel like there's a big one we're missing, and it's driving me absolutely crazy. Mummies.
Mummies? That's just zombies. That's less probable than zombies.
They say that, I was watching what show was I watching? I was watching some type of show. I was watching I think I had the Sci-Fi Channel or something like that. It was talking about aliens. And, they were saying how they think that there's a possibility that, aliens had come to Earth before, and that that the reason that the Egyptians had mummified their dead ones and had them kind of standing up in a position, like in the coffin kind of thing.
Yeah.
Was because aliens had came to Earth and they were in hypersleep. So they believed that they were dead, that they had come back to life, and the pods were similar to the ones that they created for the mummies. So they did that with the belief that maybe they would be like the aliens and come back to life.
Interesting. Huh. Well.
Yeah. So, of course, just theory.
It's a possibility.
Okay, so we got mummies, we got werewolves. I'm trying to think of Hotel Transylvania.
We got
Dracula.
genies. We got Wendigo.
Genies.
We've got leprechauns.
What's a Wendigo again? That's a
Wendigo is like a deer monster from Canada, Nova Scotia.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay. That I don't remember.
Succubus,
I knew it was like
incubus,
deer or something. Oh yeah.
Angels.
Succubus is
Chupacabra, Banshee.
Ooh,
fairy.
Angels are in Winona, or they have angels in it.
Gnomes. Goblins.
Oh yeah, gnomes and goblins are
Croatian, apparently. I also saw Amazon earlier, but I don't know why. I thought were Amazons real? I don't know.
There's so many supernatural stuff. Oh yeah.
Were Amazons real?
I think anyone that lives in the Amazon is an Amazonian.
You know what I mean.
Okay. I think we got the good ones. I think we got the big ones. They're all created equal, but I think we got the most popular ones at least.
Have you, the listener, ever experienced anything supernatural in your life?
Yeah, let us know. That was one of the questions I was going to say was, have you experienced anything supernatural? I haven't really any.
One time. I have 2 stories I can tell quickly. My 2 ghost stories.
Okay, let's hear.
Okay, so I was staying at a friend's house, and I was sleeping.
He's going to talk fast. That's how the story's going to be fast.
Yeah. And I was sleeping in a side room, and I was there for 3 days. And the first 2 days that I was there, I had this space heater. It wasn't on, it was just standing there. And there were these 2 little lids to a big Tupperware storage moving container thing. They were just leaning on it. They were fine. They were just sitting there for 2 days. Nothing happened. On day 3, it's 6 a.m. and they just fall over and they wake me up. And I look around and there was nothing that was there. And I'm just how did these fall over? And so I went back to sleep. I was not spooked. I just went back to sleep. And the next day I told the person, and she was like, yeah, that's yeah, this place is a little haunted. Sometimes we get stuff like that. And things would just fly off the counter, and I was like, okay, that's fine. We just accepted it and moved on. And then later on, I lived in a different house. This is story number 2. And I was staying with Joelle. And there was like an upstairs and a downstairs, and we had like half of the downstairs or like a quarter of the downstairs, and somebody else was renting the other half of the downstairs. Anyway, apparently the upstairs is haunted because one day the neighbor, she asked me, she was like, hey, was your roommate upstairs yesterday? And I was like, no, I don't think so, but I'll ask him. And I asked him and I was like, hey, were you upstairs yesterday? And he was like, no. And I was like, oh, well, I just talked to the neighbor and she said she heard footsteps up there yesterday. He was like, huh. And I was like, huh. And then we just ignored it. But apparently a reverend hanged himself up there one day. I think our landlord told us that when we were moving out. I think it was a long time ago. I don't think it was, man, that's an intense story. Why a reverend? Man, that's pretty rough. Brutal.
Our whole campus was basically haunted. Every like building had like a haunted story at our campus. We had like Boone 4, the
what was
the
the
level
ghost
4 that was
name?
supposed to. I don't remember what the ghost name was. It was funny. Okay, so I was in Boone, but I was on like the 2nd floor. There was 4 floors, and supposedly the 4th floor was haunted. It was locked, and you weren't allowed to go up there. But on the 3rd floor, you had lots of people, and I can't remember what they said the name was, but they said that floor was haunted, but that was a friendly ghost, and like sometimes she would like go, and if you had your door open or whatever, she would just slam it closed or something like that.
I heard that too, and I heard from a girl that all the doors were open in one of the halls, and then like something just slammed them all like dunk, 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 all the way down the hall. I'm like, that's crazy. And then everyone just ignored it.
Yeah, and I think, what was her name? Candace was an RA, and I think she told me that story too. And she was the RA the year that you were freshman, so maybe so. But, I think she said that, yeah, and then they would sometimes be like, hey, and I can't remember what they said the ghost's name was, and then they'd be like, oh, will you do this? And, like, sometimes they would do it or whatever. That was on the 3rd floor, and I didn't hear about that story until, like, a year or two after I not graduated, but a year or two after I left the girls' freshman dorm.
Yeah.
And the whole time I lived there, I mean, I lived in Boone. Sasha lived on the 3rd floor of Boone, so I never heard any of those stories until later. So, I don't know. You had, what else was haunted?
Was her name Pearl?
I really don't remember. It sounds, maybe it could be right. What else? There was another place that was supposedly really haunted. I think it was the chapel. Wasn't the chapel really haunted too?
I have no idea.
That place creeped me out. We did, like that, what was it called? The Manhunt game. And we went in there, and there was like someone in there. It was like the middle of the night. It was like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. Someone was in there playing the organ. So scary. We turned around and walked back out. We were like, okay. And I think a little bit later we went back in there and there was no one in there.
Spooky.
I don't think they were even actually playing the organ. They were just like sitting at the organ. I don't remember music. So I don't know. And then we did like a couple of films in the basement of that chapel. I hated that chapel. That chapel scared the crap out of me. I didn't like it. It was too creepy at night. It was too creepy.
Or you're just a supernatural chicken. Chicken.
So, and the film that we were filming in the basement of that building was a horror film. So it just was like, it was dark because it was supposed to be dark because it was a horror film, and it was creepy, and I think it couldn't pass like code or whatever because there was classrooms down there, but they didn't actually have any classrooms in there because of like flooding or something like that.
There was a guy living down there for a while, kind of squatting.
Yeah, there was also someone that was squatting down there too at one point.
We
made jokes about it that at night. We were like, oh, we'll just bring a can of tuna for the homeless guy that's squatting down here.
Tuna sounds good.
And I think there was one other building that was supposedly haunted, and I don't remember what it was.
I don't know. Well, that's about all I can think of.
Sounds good.
You got plenty of Halloween costumes planned out now. You could be any of those that we talked about.
Yeah, totally. Or you could be whatever you want. This is the Oasis.
Yeah, that's a real thing in VR. I haven't even tried it.
Oh, that's cool. The after party we're going to is based off the Ready Player One, and the party is like, they're like, when they describe the dress code, they're like, it's the Oasis, dress however you want your avatar to look. And
cool.
if you want to come in the default skin, jeans and a t-shirt, you can.
That's clever.
Yeah, it was very clever. Okay, guys, so thanks for listening to us please subscribe, follow us. Not in real life, please.
Send us emails about funny stuff that happened to you.
Yeah. You can send the emails at don'tyouknowpod@gmail.com. Link in the description. You can also send us a tweet at don'tyouknowpod, or you can also follow us on YouTube and check out our special that we did, the actual video for it.
Oh, yeah.
And you can also check out our previous video, and you can check out our Rocky Doesn't game.
Tons of checking out to do.
Yeah, lots of videos. We have lots of fun videos. And then, of course, we have our podcast audio video. There's not any visual to it other than, like, some waveforms. But you can always catch us there if you wish.
Sweet.
So, until next time, guys. See ya.
See ya.